Yep, we are back with another episode. Today we're going to talk about what artists or bands that have sort of like a major influence on what I'm doing. It's been a lot up through the years. I started listening to music, I guess when I was about uh, 9, 10, 11, so forth. It was, we were listening to radio stations, and there was a lot of music in my house, mostly classical music, and so it kind of came from that. And yeah, and then we had there was also uh, um, yeah, and we grew up and got a little bit older. You had older friends listening to music. It was the classical thing with the Kiss introduction. Of course, the early Kiss stuff was just amazing, and you had this was when it became a little bit more serious. It was about mid '80s, and from there it kind of just took off, got into more heavier stuff. So it was basically these bands like the thrash metal bands from the U.S. Megadeth, Slayer, of course, Death Angel, Forbidden, Metallica, Anthrax, Overkill, Violence, of course, Exodus, and there was a lot of bands. And we had it was more extreme stuff like Crater, Celtic Frost, and stuff like that. So and it was more so it was a lot of those kind of bands that made things a little bit more fun to listen to and to go by. So and we didn't have the internet, so we just, as I said, we just got it from friends and listened to each other albums and copied it onto a tape and bought the album when it came around. And if we have friends or parents who were going abroad, they bought home from record stores in wherever they were, in Germany, US, England, etc. So you kind of got a hold of a lot of cool music. And late 80s, beginning of 90s, then came more of these extreme metal bands, that were, because there were no black metal or such, back then we called it just metal anyways. And you had Sepultura, Sarcophago from South America, and there were other bands, a lot of different stuff coming out there, and there was kind of all kinds of things. We were onto Possessed from US, of course, Sardis from US, or Sadus, pretty good band. From Sweden, you had Entombed, Bathory, then you had Venom, of course, which had a huge influence on me back in the mid 80s as well. I still love that band. I only listened to 3 albums by Venom, actually, and that is Welcome to Hell and the Black Metal album, and Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Those 3 albums are just fantastic. I love the live album Eine kleine Nachtmusik, and because it has a really interesting raw feeling to it. It's just brilliant. And that was pretty much what I was listening to. And you had Norwegian bands too that were playing that sort of extreme stuff. It was Balvas. You had Equinox and Cadaver, and a lot of other bands that I don't really know or remember. I can't recall all of them because there were so many bands. But I listened to a lot of other stuff that was a lot more softer and a little bit more interesting, though, for my kind of thing. It was basically bands like Motley Crue, the 3 first Motley Crue albums, Rat from the US as well, Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, Saxon, all these new wave of British heavy metal bands, Iron Maiden, Tigers of Pantang, stuff like that. The more groovier stuff that really kept things going for me, and and combining all these guys together and all these genres together, you got the sort of like, that was what made you want to play that kind of stuff, and maybe speed it up a little bit and just go for it, just like Motorhead. So that was the kind of drive, wanting to be that kind of musician. So that was what I was working for, just trying to get. And after all this black metal hysteria in Norway was going on, it was of course black metal we were listening to, and some of it were pretty good and some of it were not that good, really. So I was not really actually inspired by anything of that stuff. It was more like you were listening to it, and it didn't really get me at all. I mean, but it was fun to compose it and to perform it, So that was, that was what I like to do, and I still don't listen in on, black metal. Didn't really make sense. I mean, I still don't get that stuff. So, but yeah. And these days, I only listen to EDM and pop, that kind of music when I work out or when I walk. I always have my earbuds on, and it's that is what I listen to. Pop, radio friendly stuff, very commercial stuff, Eurodance and dance trance and EDM, as I mentioned. So that's what I do. And if I'm not listening to that, it's when I want to listen to heavier stuff, I go back in time, so to speak, to listen to these good old heroes, that I was mentioning earlier in this video. So that's when I kind of, have a good time, have a couple of beers and just, fuck yeah, this is cool, And when it comes to guitar players, I always have some sort of, I have guitar heroes, and mine were basically started out with Kirk Hammett, and then came Joe Satriani. When it comes to Steve Vai, it's actually only Flexible and Passion and Warfare I listen to. Then you have other players, Marty Friedman, and his solo projects from before he was in Megadeth. You have Paul Gilbert, of course, some Jason Becker stuff, but not that much. And that is basically the guitar players that have sort of shaped me in a sense. It's awesome to try to play what they play. It's kind of not doable, but it is doable if you have the discipline to sit down and work on it. Really, back then we didn't have YouTube or stuff like that, so we just had to play it by heart, and with questionable success, really. But when everything is posted on YouTube and tutorials and stuff, so it's kind of fun to see how people are doing it and how they are playing it, and themselves explain what they're doing and how they get their sounds and stuff. So it's much more interesting now, of course, to see and learn the tricks from the guys who inspired you to play what you do. I don't have that much solos or leads and ARVAS. It's more about a constant intensity in the music in ARVAS, basically. But sometimes I do throw in some melodies, which I am very fond of. I love melodies. These small, little, intricate, eerie melodies and harmonies. And most of that stuff is kind of inspired by these older heroes of mine. And just a couple of lines here and there, and transitions. And the picking style, of course, it's a lot of economy picking and just a lot of downstrokes. That basically comes from James Hetfield. And so that's what I do. There you go, that's one of my inspirations. Anyways, if you want to keep on watching this channel, subscribe, watch everything you can. There's a lot of links in the description field for you guys who want to check out the album we have released now. Fifth one, Equanimity, check it out. We are on Spotify, we are here on YouTube, and you can buy it at Plastic Head and our record label Satanic Art Media. I will keep on having weekly entries here on this channel with different things, just me talking about stuff that I do, and maybe I will be having guests in for small chats, sort of interviewing people, and yeah, just to see what's going on around with other guys as well. So stay tuned and remember to click the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Cheers.